Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another Sunday evening at the round table. I am Nita, your host, and with me is Patrick, brother Lass, and brother Ishmael. We expect Maxine and others, Rattigan and Herb Nelson, to join us. And today going to be somewhat different because we have with us, well, he will be joining us at some point, Mr. Paul Buchanan, a well-known figure in Kingston. And he was recently appointed caretaker, PMP caretaker for West Central St. Andrew. And we want to talk with the gentleman about that. Okay. So before we get into that discussion, we want to start today's broadcast with a roundup of the news. So what's in the Sunday newspaper? And this is going to be a regular feature where we look at the Sunday paper and try to dissect what is happening, what is reporting, and what's happening. Brother man, that will lead this discussion is Brother Lass. So I'm going to turn it over to Lass to take it from here in terms of what's happening in the news.
Well,
Lass, your turn.
for this weekend news has been still dominated by the whole question of the dual citizenship issue. We see where in the last week, PJ Patterson has weighed in on the issue, and the media seems to be highlighting what he has been saying about dual citizenship and the whole question of a prime minister having dual citizenship and certain responsibilities in government that he believed should not have. The person holding those positions should not have dual citizenship. What we saw in PJ response was that he was looking at Section 40 of the Jamaican Constitution, where the Constitution outlines that members of the Senate and members holding positions in the House should not have any allegiance and loyalty to any other state. PJ's position was that this clause should be broadened because he believes that there are other positions in government.
Sir Paul, hi, afternoon.
He believes that there are other positions in government because of their nature and their responsibility.
Please have him, sit down and in front of. He has the link.
Yeah. He believes that the Section 40 should be broadened to include. He believes that Section 40 of the Constitution should be broadened to include other people, some other people other than just senators and members of the House of Representatives. He named people like the Chief Justice, the Chief of Staff of the Defense Force, and members of the Defense Board. But he also believes that no prime minister, any prime minister should have single focus, which is Jamaica. right? So that's what PJ position was. And the question also, we had a blue dot poll that was published. I think the blue dot poll is conducted by the nationwide news network. And they give us an insight as to how the Jamaican population is thinking on the issue of dual citizenship. According to the Blue Dot poll, 7 out of 10 Jamaicans, or close to 7 out of 10 Jamaicans, have no problem with dual citizens sitting in parliament. It said that 64% of the citizenry believe that a prime minister in Jamaica should not hold dual citizenship. And it said that 61% of the people polled believe that Golding should renounce his British citizenship. One striking thing about the poll also was that most people believe that because 53% of people believe that since the revelation about Golding and his dual citizenship, there are less, 53% of the people polled say they are less likely to support him as a prime minister in the next election. Those are some issues in the news which could form a basis for some discussion.
This poll, it was done by Nationwide, right?
Yeah, it was. They said it was conducted between. Yes, I think Blue Dot is by Nationwide, and they said it was conducted
and what was the
between
margin of error?
I think plus or minus 3.5%.
That's the standard for all. That's the standard for all polls.
Gentlemen,
and they say it was conducted between May 20.
okay.
May.
Yeah. What did he say
May
was a sample
22nd
size?
and June 5th.
What did he say was a sample size?
What was the sample size?
I think it was 1,200 people.
Okay.
Or some. Yeah.
1,200 eligible voters or just 1,200 people?
They didn't break it down whether eligible voters. They set up 1,200 people across the country.
I want to bring Maxine into the discussion. Maxine, welcome to the round table. How are you doing today?
Blessed. I'm good.
Good. Yeah, you heard what
citizenship.
Lass has to report about the news. You're in Jamaica. You and Patch and Ishmael in Jamaica. What's the vibes on the street? Is there support for Golding to renounce citizenship?
Is the issue as topical as the?
It is as topic. It is topical because no one knew before that this was so, and I don't know what the protocol is in terms of applying for a job. What the terms of the job are, and what certain disclosures or certain issues may have been. So I don't know. I would be curious to know if this was an issue that the party knew about and had, you know, figured it out ahead of a card being drawn, by the other side. Um, it's pretty interesting now because we are seeking to politically or topically remove ourselves from the British crown, so the whole British thing and removing ourselves in terms of a narrative, it becomes problematic. So, I it's hard for me to, process what's happening. If it is so, and then the easiest pathway would be for Mark to renounce. If he wants that job and it is becoming, you know, a, a PR narrative that I think is not going to work for him. You know what I mean? Especially in this climate of Jamaica seeking to, delink themselves from England. The narrative is just too, it's just like mind-boggling for me. It's not even the merits of Constitution or whatever. A lot of these things is just perception. So, going into law, and I think PJ, I don't know what, if PJ Patterson was coming out in support of him renouncing. I wasn't sure what I was hearing from PJ, on the issue, which I don't know if they discussed with him what he was about to go and say at this lecture. It's very confusing. So I think the best thing to do for Mark is to, remove the issue. I don't know what the implications are in terms of giving up British citizenship. He's in terms of his life and his um, his investments and stuff. But it's too much of a. I don't know what kind of conversation or PR is going to remove it. And what I'm hearing in the polls and whatever, it must be just as difficult for people, not because of Constitution or whatever, but just, we're right in the midst of removing the British, even subjectively, the British personality to us. So to end up with a British prime minister, seemingly, that is there, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just going to grow and grow and grow, and become very. I just was wondering when this card got into the deck, and when was it decided to be played? Meaning, was it going to be played now, played later? Why wasn't it played before? That's my thoughts, but I think the PJ thing came out. I was listening to
Ishmael,
last
you're
and I was reading it, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Michael, you were saying something.
Ishmael, you're close to the PNP. What is the vibes there? Is it the parties telling him to renounce, or what's the vibe? What's the vibration within the PNP on this matter?
Um, uh,
And Ishmael,
Go ahead.
Ishmael, just a minute, Ishmael. While you're
Mm-hmm.
answering, just
Mm-hmm.
while you're answering, just let me get a feel whether or not it is as topical on the ground, or
Mm-hmm.
the papers making
Mm-hmm.
much more of it than it is on the ground.
Okay. So it's on the ground. It's honestly much to do about nothing. It's just a small substrata of people trying to push the issue when it is in fact an issue of born out of pure hypocrisy to be honest, because the truth is he's not the only dual citizen that is currently sitting in parliament. That's one. And two, the constitution supports it. So for people to say for him to renounce it is, you know, quite frankly, a small set of people, including some of that, with power in this country, speaking about it being an issue when in fact there are other, very, issues in relation to governance and running of this country that are more important. Um, and I find that this is happening quite a lot since recently. An example of that is the debacle about the tax administration of Jamaica paying a handsome amount of money for a building that is not theirs, and that being overshadowed up by the opposition leader being a, a citizen of the United Kingdom through his father's lineage. I don't see the correlation personally, but if it is that we are speaking frankly, it is going to be topical because people with power make it topical, and the media will also report on it because it's news. Um, it may not necessarily be useful news, but it's news for people worth discussing, especially in this climate of constitutional reform. I think we should speak more about the process of constitutional reform as a whole versus what we think is necessary in relation to somebody that has dual citizenship. If it is so much of an issue, as I said, change it. I'm not sure what's happening, Michael. You okay? Right. So if it's so much of an issue, change it, because as it stands, our constitution reports not just allows it, but it's welcomed. Um, so that's one issue. As it relates to how the party feels about it, it's really a non-issue in as far as I know, and as far as the feel I'm getting on the ground. It's a non-issue, but as I said, people are going to make it an issue because it suits them. And there is something I like to call convenience, political convenience. Um, you know, we have a governance issue internationally that people are looking at, and so one can choose to look at the opposition leader when our own prime minister is not in good standing. That's what I mean by political convenience. It can't make sense. um we can't be spending $1.5 million per year and not occupying a building, but we're talking about dual citizenship that is not costing the taxpayer dollar any money at all. It can't make sense. I don't see the correlation. So that is my um so that is my, as well as how people feel about it. It's just much to do about nothing, to be frank with you. It's really much to do about nothing.
Patrick,
Um yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah,
what's your take on it?
I kind of understand where Ishmael is coming from, and I kind of empathize with that, because my thing was that, again, it could be a matter that the media is pushing this discussion when there are this other things to look at, which is way more relevant than dual citizenship right now. So that's one of the factors I'm thinking about. If the media is the one pushing this thing, or is it that on the ground, people are really concerned and talking about this thing like that? And in terms of it being a constitutional matter, I think that's still kind of up in the air based on other discussions I've listened to and looking at the Constitution and what it says. So I'm more, you know, sympathetic to what Ishmael is saying, in terms of what's really important right now. Right? Not a matter of dual citizenship, but more that because this is not something that's new, right? This is something that has been happening from way back. I mean, it's something that I've visited from time to time. The other factor too is that in the GLP itself, there are several based on my understanding, there's as high a percentage as 30% of the GLP parliamentarians have some kind of dual citizenship, right? Whether it be British or American or elsewhere. So it is not just a matter of dual citizenship as it pertains to England, but what about dual citizenship as it pertains to the US and other areas? So there's a number of things to be considered here. And of course, it can come down to a matter of, what the law stipulates, right? And how that is interpreted. So, again, right now it just seems to be more further than anything else.
Just to add to that, just to add to that, I think as a country, it's incredibly hypocritical of us to think that that should be an issue versus um us having a conversation about our final appellate court, whether we should stay with the Privy Council, given that we were in fact subjects of the monarch, and we actually paying for an appellate court in the Caribbean, our own taxpayer dollars fund this particular court in the Caribbean, and we speak so much about regional integration. I think elevate some more, elevate the conversation some more, and not just have it surface level. If it is that we cry for this, we cry for him to denounce his citizenship. Okay, fine. Why do we? So if we want to denounce citizenship so much, why do we continuously want to stay with the Privy Council if that is the case? You follow where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I'm not so sure what one has to do with the other, though.
Yes, I follow.
All right. So let me explain what one has to do with the other. It is the crown that 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 we are subjects of, and if that is the case, if that is the case, he is in fact a citizen of the country that they want him to denounce from. So I'm saying, why is it so much an issue if it is that we will still stay with that country's Privy Council? Because the truth is, the legalese of it means
Ishmael is
that. Are you hearing me? You hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
so
yeah.
the
we
You're
weren't
clear.
hearing
Yeah.
you.
yeah, man. Yeah.
okay. So the legalese of it means that you know the same country that we want decolonization from is the same country that we are going to go to for advice as relates to our legal prudence. It makes no sense. It cannot make any sense. So the full decolonization also means leaving them and going on our own with our legal system as well. That's what I'm saying. So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Isn't the CCJ based on British law?
Mm, yes and no. It's not really based on British law, but internationally, you know, I don't want to use the word best practice. I want to use a legal term, but I can't remember it just now. Um, but best practices is drawn from each territory to make up to make up you know the CCJ and how they operate. And I must add, an international judge has to sit on the CCJ as well, not that are not a part of the Commonwealth. So
Yeah, well,
food for
again,
thought.
that's really no
I
correlation between personal citizenship and
I
appellant
Yes,
court.
it is, Patrick. It has to
It
be
isn't. It
because the
isn't.
personal
No, no,
citizenship
no.
of. So, all right. So
I am
obviously, you're not explaining. Understand what I mean. The personal citizenship of Mark Golding is that he is a British citizen as well. You follow me? You follow me? We are seeking to move away from the monarch that is of British rule. If it is that we are going to stay
yeah
with their privy council, Patrick, it means that we still have ties to the
yeah
British crown. If we are moving away from the British crown, move away from it in totality. So when Mark denounce, don't stay at the privy council. That's what I'm saying.
But that what you're saying is a mere opinion. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there bear no correlation legally. What you're saying is merely an opinion you're giving, merely your perception, right, of the whole thing. But it has no bearing legally. I mean, we can move away from the British crown and um still have dual citizenship among
all, all
Jamaicans.
of this moving away from the British crown and the British this and the British that, is it going to this moving away, this idea of becoming a republic, etc., does it have a correlation to our economics? Meaning to say, like, are we going to become more economically viable when we get rid of these attachments? I'm interested because we, from 1962, we have declared our independence of politicality with somebody. We were dependent on something, and then we became independent. So now we are negotiating. We have 60 years of experience of that
Let me explain this a little,
independence. So the
right? In terms of
republic, I just
Patrick,
want to
Patrick, we're not
what
seeing you. I
understand.
don't know.
things
Oh, you're here. You're
what
here. 'Cause we never did
what
see you a
things
while
mean
ago. Oh, is
legally.
Michael me not seeing? Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
They
Yeah, man.
seem
Yeah,
to be
yeah, yeah,
having
man.
some interruption here.
Patrick.
All right. Yeah. One of the things that we need to understand is this. What happens or we proceed economically, politically, right, it's based on we establish, right, the operation. In other words, it is our choice to determine if we stay with the appellant with the British appellant court, and at the same time, it is our choice in terms of what economic role we take. So it's not something that anybody else determines for us. We determine that. That's what our parliament does, right? So this is something again that a lot of time people misunderstand. Like I keep on saying, the Constitution to begin with, the Constitution is one that was handed to us. It is not really our Constitution. It is not really a Constitution that speaks to Jamaica and its people, right? So, in other words, it's a continuation of the old colonial monarchy, right? Just restated. And that's why the Constitution is so much of an issue, right? It's not just a simple matter of constitutional reform that we need. We need a new constitution. We need a constitution that we determine, not one that is stipulated by Britain. Right? So this is really what it's all about. We are the ones who are supposed to determine, because that's what independence means. Independence means self-determination. Right? So we determine the route what we want to take.
So I get the understanding that being in Jamaica, and especially around the land issue, who own land here, and as Black people coming out of, this dilemma that we're transatlantic slave trade, etc. I have this knowledge of myself all these years that Jamaica crown land is owned by the crown. So when that's why I'm asking,
it
what
is.
are the
It is.
economic, right? So what are so when we go to this republic thing now, this crown land that is owned by the crown, is it now owned by the people where the land is, so all of this land, when them point, oh, that is crown land, right?
Auntie Maxine, that is solely dependent on what is in
land?
that is solely dependent on what will be in the new constitution and how they decide to coin it. So it won't be crown lands anymore. It won't be crown lands anymore. It's a part of the process. It really again it depends on
to be determined.
I don't want to say the people, but it really depends on what is said in the new constitution or the amended constitution.
That would be a big that should be number one on the people's mind in relation to this crown land, and would be a big indicator of what is happening with this constitutional reform when it comes to the economics and this subjective, court of law, privy council. When for me, if the CCJ is also a filter, is it a filter in relation to the law? Are we still under British law in our courts? Or where is the indigenous law gonna come in? Is this why people are curious about the CCJ? That it doesn't take us that is another layer of interpretation of British law in relation to our issues here, domestically, between people. What are the choices of law? What are the choices of law?
The simple answer is Maxine. The simple answer is this: that presently, we're still under British law. As much as people try to argue otherwise, we're still under British law because we're still operating under a system where the Governor General, the King's representative in Jamaica, right, is the one who signs things into law, sign bills into law, right? And that means we're still under British law, despite us talking about independence, right? The Governor General is still the head of government, right? And the Governor General with his custos in other parishes throughout Jamaica, right? They are at the head of the government. They don't run the executive branch, but they are at the head of the government. They sign things into law. So we're still under a British jurisdiction.
Right. Yeah, I understand that.
The question, though, I listen to the. Maxine, I'm listening to the conversation. And the conversation seems to be straying away from the whole question of the dual citizenship and why people are concerned and why we should be concerned or not concerned about it. The thing is that we have to ask the question, are we comfortable? Are we comfortable with people having dual citizenship?
The echo.
Where's that feedback coming from? Yeah, the question is, are we comfortable with people holding dual citizenship in certain positions of accountability in the country? That's the questions we need to be asking. Are we comfortable with that? Right? The thing is, right now, the Constitution allows for dual citizens who are members of the Commonwealth to hold certain positions in government legally. Right? It excludes
So is that
some
because,
others.
is that
Yeah, Maxine.
so is this Commonwealth descriptor? Is this Commonwealth descriptor an outcome of the same British Empire thinking?
Of course.
That this is
Of
the
course.
Commonwealth is the right. So this allowance to be a Commonwealth dual citizen
Foreigner.
and still
A
hold
Commonwealth foreigner.
the power. A common foreigner. So that is still a British interpretation of law. We're still,
And we have to
if we say, oh, in the Constitution, huh? I'm only asking and I'm not judging because right now Jamaica have more Jamaicans abroad than they have here in Jamaica.
Yes.
Right? So the idea of dual citizenship is all around. It's not just with the Prime Minister and the Parliament. It's also an issue for the people and the governance of the country. So
I have a question to ask. Patrick, Nita, and Lass. Please permit me. In relation to the Republic of the United States of America, can you serve in any office and be a citizen of another country?
Hold on, Ishmael. Hold on with the question. Just allow Maxine to finish what she was saying. Okay, you really cut her off.
No, what I was saying and what I am trying to internalize in addressing this issue, because I'm a dual citizen. I'm a citizen of the United States and I'm a citizen of Jamaica, right? And I imagine that there are lots and lots of people like myself from Canada, England, and Jamaica who live that reality, right? And there's a big discussion now about the diaspora and how the diaspora should be managed and engaged in the Jamaican locality of issues. So the idea of the dual citizenship of Mark is not simply in a result of the Constitution and all of that. It's a result of how Jamaica, 60 years from when they started this thing and over, is a changed nation, right? So that's why I'm asking these questions in relation to, as Patrick was saying, are we creating a constitution now in and of ourselves, or as in 1962, creating a constitution that gives us a sense of self, but know that we are inextricably linked to the economic and social system of our colonizer, and how this change into a republic, is it another exercise, right? Which is why I asked about the crown land. If Jamaica all of a sudden becoming a republic is going to have how much $1 trillion of ownership, you understand, on behalf of Jamaica, because the crown land, or do we have to go and buy this land from England, or who is the crown? So it's like that is a substantial question that needs to be asked. You understand? Because otherwise, this is just, I guess, things bubbling up from below. You understand? Because I think one of the responses coming from this question of Mark's dual citizenship is what happened to all the dual citizenship of all the people. Are we going to have increased rights as is being fought in these diaspora platforms? You know, are we going to change our Jamaican constitution now to involve so that this dual citizenship means nothing, or is a non-issue?
Well,
Because the population of the country is majority dual citizen.
well, the thing about it, Maxine, is as Ishmael said earlier on, in terms of what the feeling is on the ground, is that is much ado about nothing. It has nothing to do with, for example, you know, the question that's before us right now, in terms of, you know, it does that have any impact on water, food, and shelter? There's no bearing, right? So it's really much ado about nothing, because it doesn't matter whether how many people have dual citizenship or who have dual citizenship, right? The fact of the matter is that it's not a new issue, right? And what makes it an issue now is because the media might be pushing the discussion, right?
But
And causing
Patrick,
us to,
can I say something?
focus on it.
The media might be pushing it. The media might be pushing it, Patrick. But these are questions I believe that need to be answered, because as Maxine is alluding to,
No, man.
at this, what is happening at this point in time is that, okay, Maxine is a dual citizen. I'm a dual citizen.
Somebody need to mute. Somebody need
Other
to mute.
people.
Last, can you hold on that point for a minute?
Okay.
Last, can you hold for a minute?
Yes, I hear you.
Listen, we have Mr. Paul Buchanan with us, and I want to bring him in, or what have you, but we are blessed to have with us Brother Paul.
You're cutting out, Mikey.
Buchanan. How are you doing, brother? Brother Paul, welcome, brother. Well, he's not hearing. Can you?
Yeah, it doesn't seem he's hearing properly.
Ishmael.
All right, let me try.
No.
Yeah, man, let me try to organize this a little bit better.
Yeah. Last, you were saying that. Can you finish what you were saying, Last?
There are some issues we have to discuss. The thing is that at the present moment, right, as Maxine said, we have dual citizens from all different countries, right? Jamaicans living in all different countries with dual citizenship. Presently, right, if we go by Section 40, the present Constitution, these people who hold dual citizenship cannot, right, be members of the Senate and hold certain positions in government unless you are living or a dual citizen within the British Commonwealth, right? So the question I believe Maxine is asking, what of the other people who are not part of the British Commonwealth and are dual citizenship? How do we facilitate and ensure that these people have a voice in the Jamaican political
Hello.
scene,
I think
right? And the
You're
Constitution
here.
does not give them that kind of privilege at this point in time, right? That is something we need to discuss. While at the same time, people who are not Jamaicans, right, but are part of the British Commonwealth can come to Jamaica and participate in the political process legally. That is a problem.
Um, um,
Hello.
thank you, last. Yes, Sir Buchanan, are you with us? Are you hearing us a little better now?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right,
Yes, I'm
wonderful,
hearing you very clear.
wonderful. So with us we have the candidate that intends to go up against the sitting prime minister in his constituency, Mr. Paul Buchanan. Thank you for taking the time. I am advised that you are in fact in the constituency as we speak. Is that true?
Yes, 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 I'm doing our work.
Oh, wonderful. So talk to us about that and your intentions in relation to the constituency, because you decide to take up a mammoth task of running
These
against.
works are really to familiarize myself with the constituency and the constituents. There are a lot of
Mhm.
comrades in West Central. A lot of them have not been voting over the years. And we intend to inspire them and mobilize them and to be ready when the trumpet sounds. And at the same time, we want to look at the areas where there are infrastructure problems. The the Jamaica Labour
What's the
Party
point?
and the Prime Minister has had 27 years. I'm not seeing where the people of West Central have been prepared for a new technological world that is emerging. We have a paperless world, a wireless world, um, world of artificial intelligence, robotics. What is that? What's going to happen to the young people in West Central? They'll be left behind. We need our IT centers. We need our software development centers. We need to bring them in the 21st century and to let them be aware of what is there. When I was at West Rural St. Andrew, I established 5 IT training centers. They've all been closed down by the person, the Jamaica Labour Party member of parliament that replaced me. In a STEM world, it cannot be. This is the future. This is where
Man.
you have exponential growth. And if you're not understanding
Ishmael,
the
have you talked
technical
with Mr.
language,
Buchanan?
yes, yes,
Wow, man.
hello,
Go
hello.
Yeah, man.
ahead,
Go
we're
ahead. Go
listening. We're
ahead. Go
listening.
ahead. So the question is, Sir Buchanan, what is in fact your intentions with, and I hear you're talking about some of them for the people of the constituency,
We have
in
to prepare
particular,
the
given
people.
that.
Nobody is prepared. Nobody is
Okay.
prepared for the world, the technical world that is unfolding. This is basically in a city community. You have some lower middle class here. They want to lift up everybody. You can't have blinding poverty and in some pockets. We need to give people opportunity. I don't know where there is. I passed through Nigger Gully on Friday. The whole of the gully behind Father Ram Kisoon center. The whole of it break down. The water going in on the people as mud and water and the children can't grow like that. We have to deal with all those things.
Wonderful.
Um,
All
I
right, so
intend
tell
to
us a little bit
establish one
about.
or two centers.
Okay.
Yes, I intend to establish one or two centers. Just looking at some of the locations, they'll be technical, they'll be skill oriented. That's all we're dealing with: jobs and skill training and preparation. Where's the skill center in this place? Where's the banks? Money coming in, and just going out back. Nothing stays here. These areas are red line for the last 3 decades. Banks don't easily make a loan in these places. How the people invest, how they grow. Governance is not just for Norbrook and Chergans, it's for everywhere. And that is what I want to change the equation, change the paradigm of these places. Everybody too lazy fear. We just lay back and we don't even understand what is happening. So I intend to, if the Prime Minister wants to debate, I'll debate him on West Central, what needs to be done, where we need to go. And my track record is there. You don't have to go West Rural St. Andrew. You see the new schools, the new highways, the 5 IT centers I built, the health centers. I have my monuments are there. So it's not just talk. I intend to replicate this in West Central St. Andrew. I want to give the people them an opportunity. If you go Rock Hall today, is not the Rock Hall you see before. If you drive from Red Hills Police Station going out to Sligoville, is not the same road. There's a highway there. Yes. If you go Golden Spring, you see a big clinic right in the center of Golden Spring. Those things weren't there before. This is a kind of proactive agenda I want to go on in West Central to show the people that government can really care.
One question, Mr. Buchanan.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
I am hearing you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Just I hear some of the intentions that you're putting forward. Just want to ask you,
Yes.
how is the party machinery in the constituency to going into the next election? Or does the party machinery able to live up to the kind of organization that it will take to unseat the Prime Minister in that constituency?
Obviously.
It's an uphill
Obviously. Well, it is obviously one of the reasons why the party asked me to come here. Some of the structures would have been down, so I intend to build it back. I have the experience. I understand what needs to be done. Live right, God, Olympic in Mullines, and we are putting all of them. We're gonna have our conferences, and we're gonna have our constituency conference. We're gonna put our worker structures, our cluster management system in place, and we will work from there. But as I said at the beginning, a lot of people have not been voting over the years. They will come out to vote now, because I intend to inspire them and motivate them to work, and to put in a structure that will allow them to do that.
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys now.
The thing is, Mr. Buchanan, is that West Central is a constituency I'm very familiar with, and for it's a constituency that has not changed. Well, most sections of that constituency has not changed probably for the last 40 odd years. You speak of like the differences in the economics of some sections of that constituency, and it is probably just a very small section of that constituency that has made any progress in the last 40 odd years. Like probably like the Mullines Garden sections are so the rest of the constituency has not seen any form of development. right, for a long time,
Well,
you know. So
well,
it is gonna take
maybe you can give me stuff.
immense economic. Yeah,
Well, along Olympic way, you can see some progress in terms of some of the people that have been
Gentlemen, I'm
enabled.
not hearing Mr. Buchanan.
Yes, but
Are you able to hear
what's
him?
that? You're not hearing me? You hearing me?
Can
yeah,
I,
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Yes, you have some people that has been enabled by the Prime Minister on Olympic way. I will grant him that.
Yeah.
But there are thousands and
you guys are hearing
thousands
Mr. Buchanan
and thousands not
online?
being enabled. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
man,
we're
I'm hearing.
hearing
You're
you.
hearing.
Yeah, but I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm saying there are thousands that any
Yeah,
economic
but
progress has
Mr. Buchanan,
bypassed,
are you
and
guys hearing
we have
Mr.
to deal
Buchanan?
with those. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead,
That's the
Mr.
last he's
Buchanan.
saying.
Mikey, we are hearing perfectly clear.
Okay, go ahead. Let him go ahead.
Yes, all I'm saying is so many people have
Go
been
ahead, man. Continue the discussion.
bypassed central center. Yes, and we intend to make a difference there. And that is one of my central objectives. We have to do it quickly, even as we build up the structures to prepare for an election. And the polls moving in our direction. It's the Jamaica Labour Party might want to exercise their options before the constitutional due time. So I have to work fast. So I have to prepare the move. There will be no more intimidation, because from now I will be putting in measures and shouting out to ensure that come election day it's a fair vote. And so even while I'm doing that, I have to be mindful that a lot of people are, especially our people, because they have been seriously disenfranchised. The PNP person has got one or on any overseas program in this constituency.
We lost him.
Seems like we lost him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
You were not hearing him, Mikey? Mikey seems to be having
Yeah.
some issues.
That's one of the things we face sometimes with, two things with technology, that it fails us sometimes because it's made by a man, and another with the guests, because sometimes because of the fact that the exuberance of an impending election in the air, people come on and decide to market themselves instead of discussing other topics. But nevertheless, he's welcomed. Mikey, I'm not sure. Try logging on and logging off again, logging off and on again, and see if that will work for you.
I don't think Mikey can hear anybody.
Oh. Yeah, Sir Lass, just I'm not sure if you remember, but you can continue with your point. I was actually waiting to hear it.
What was that about the constitution, the
Right.
citizens, the dual citizenship thing?
Right. Yes.
No, the point I was making was that the present constitution facilitates people who are part of the British Commonwealth to participate in the political process in Jamaica. It does not facilitate people who are dual citizens from other countries who are Jamaicans to participate in the political process. It also gives a lot of people who are not Jamaicans the privilege of participating in our political process. And the point I was trying to make is that the constitutional reform process need to address it, right? And I think that is why a lot of people is talking about it, because it gives privilege to people who are connected to the colonial past, right? And it disenfranchise other people. I think Paul Buchanan is back, Mikey.
Sir Buchanan, you're back. Are you hearing us? I guess he's not hearing us. And he is
Are you
also
hearing us, Mr. Buchanan?
I'm hearing you. I mean, yes, I'm hearing you, but I didn't want to enter the constitutional debate. I just wanted to stay with West Central for today.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem.
We weren't.
With the constitution.
No, we weren't asking you the constitutional. That was we were having a discussion before about it. So.
Oh, well, I was overhearing you a while ago. Yeah. Yes, and West Central.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have another question on West Central?
My question
or
is,
observation.
So my question. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Sir Lass. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ishmael. You go ahead, Ishmael.
Okay. So my question is mainly about the man and the work that the man has done. I know you spoke about where you have worked and the things that you've done in those spaces, but we would love to hear about Paul Buchanan, as a professional. Did you get that?
Well, first of all, my early education, yes, I hear you, was at university in Canada. I did lot of applied economics. I lectured at UTech for about 10 years in land economics. I'm a land developer.
Mm-hmm.
I was head of the investment. That is the micro loan fund program under Michael Manley and later under PJ Patterson. I was at one time the head of the Pride program under Patterson and then senior vice president at HAJ. So, and I'm an author. I wrote 2 books, Community Development in the Ranking Economy and Jonestown, Trenchtown, the journey back. Development specialist as we speak. I have my own company. I build houses. So I've been in microsector financing and um, economics, development studies, and that. The PhD candidate.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
development studies at the consortium graduate school.
Wonderful. I know. Oh, see,
Mr. Buchanan,
We
can
lost
you
him.
hear me?
we lost him.
Oh man, somebody's messing with us. He dropped off. He's
Yeah,
using
yeah,
his
yeah.
phone. So that seems to be the problem. And he's relying on Wi-Fi. What I really want to ask him about is his vision for the greater Waterhouse area. Because the area that he represents, West Central St. Andrew, is it borders on Waterhouse. It is part of the greater Waterhouse area. And successive government, when they send individuals to represent us, they come in and they just focus on their particular area without realizing that there's a movement of people across the border, West St. Andrew to West Central St. Andrew. So I'm interested in finding out what is Mr. Buchanan vision for the community. You know, it can be like a
That
piecemeal thing.
that question, Kwambi, is going to have to be based on the levels of cooperation that can take place, between constituencies, because it's like no one constituency representative can bridge that gap and create that kind of greater Waterhouse vision without some levels of cooperation. I understand what you're saying, Mikey, and it is true that the history, especially the history of Tower Hill and Waterhouse, for the most of the history of those two communities, they were like one especially before the upheaval in the whole political division. So, and it's not just Waterhouse and Tower Hill, it's also like Mall Road, Waltham Gardens, Cockburn Pen. So
is there
You see,
or is there a constituency plan for all these constituencies that we could look at them collectively to see what their other than the members of that govern these constituencies. I remember we were looking for those plans to see how much people live there, what type of infrastructure is there, what type of inputs and
most
ongoing
of the
plans are there.
constituencies, Maxine, all that you have for them is how much people vote for the PNP, how much vote for the GLP, and the extent of the constituency. Because
No, but
unless you go to like this,
I have seen
yeah, but
constituency development data, right? Because
yeah,
I think I was sharing some of those data with Mike. At one time, I didn't see any for Waterhouse in particular. I was
Trenchtown.
curious, but yeah, I saw for Trenchtown and some other constituencies. So I imagine that each constituency has that type of data that I saw in those reports. So I was suggesting that a way to ask the question is that each constituency has a data um, platform to say, well, we have 10,000 youth on the, between 10 and
okay.
30. We have X amount of schools. As you was mentioning, upgrading the technical, scenario for that constituency. But every constituency beside and
Max,
has the same dynamic.
Maxine,
So that's why I was asking the question. Yeah.
Max, Ma- Maxine, there is a report. SDC has a report for Waterhouse that lists the population and the breakdown, demographic breakdown, and the social condition. And I think SDC developed that, as part of its outreach effort. But in
Yes.
terms of the report, the type of report that you're pointing to, no, there's no report like that, a comprehensive report. And that's why I really, I'm somewhat excited that Paul Buchanan is assigned to the area because he's not a stranger to the area. Paul
Right.
Paul used to play cricket for Melbourne and Woolmans. He's well known. He's well known in that area and he's familiar with that area. It's not like Oldness who come in and he was a stranger and then, end up in a seat. Paul Buchanan, we call him Bucky. That's how we know him as Bucky, and
See,
from the earliest Tony Sparling days. So it would be interesting to get his
West,
ideas as to what is it that he brings to the table and would like to move the community. What direction? Go ahead, Lass.
you know, I don't know if most people realize that West Central St. Andrew is a winnable constituency for the PNP. In up to the mid 70s, there was only one major GLP area in that constituency. Up to I don't know if
And that
Mikey
was what?
remember, that was Tower Hill. Most of after you leave Tower Hill, if you go south, you go most of Cockburn Pen was PNP during those years. Mall Road was PNP. You had Compound up at the top, which was JLP. Most of the other areas were mixed areas, right? So the majority of that constituency was once PNP territory until after the mid 70s. And I think it is still a winnable constituency for the PNP with the right person and with the right level of organization to make some inroads back into some
And
of
I think,
those areas.
and I think Bucky can do that because he's familiar. If he, it depends on where he's at right now. Where
So,
he's at,
so, so Lass,
because
are you saying that
Yeah.
the depreciation of the communities? Because I think that was what Mr. Buchanan had came on, and he was, I think, or I was watching his Ian Boyne interview that Mike had sent, but he's aware that those constituencies were once thriving, educational outputs, of leadership and of different achievements for Jamaica. And so, in terms of it being winnable, are you saying that the winnableness of it is in its return to that type of capacity of creating, returning to its educational and its economic vibrancy?
That's part
Switch
of it.
roots.
But the thing is, a lot of things broke down after the mid-70s in that constituency. Remember, that was the coming of Ferdy Yap. That was when Ferdy Yap surfaced inside of that constituency, right? And most of the changes in that politically in that constituency, and even when Ferdy Yap surfaced, right? Ferdy Yap was never the MP, you know. Despite his influence, he couldn't make any major inroads apart from the violence inside of the constituency. That's how strong the PNP organization was in the constituency at the time. Even with the violence, even with the intimidation, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you say that.
Even with the violence and the
Last, I'm glad
intimidation.
you mentioned that.
Yeah, right? So people who are familiar, who know the constituency can tell you that despite, and it was not no little bit of violence under the Ferdy Yap leadership, right? And despite that, the constituency was able to maintain its PNP identity until later, right? After Yapsam, the GLP tried so many different people to try and gain a foothold. I don't know if Mike remember a man named Ira Ashman. They tried Ira Ashman, right? They tried, I don't remember this other lady. They tried about 3-4 different people after.
Ashman was a counselor last. He was a counselor.
No,
Ira Ashman was a counselor.
When Ira Ashman, remember, so when Ferdy Yap went to detention, right? They brought in Ira Ashman as the caretaker MP at that point.
Yeah,
and he had to leave.
He
had to leave. At one point in time. Yeah, but he was also sent as the caretaker MP to replace Ferdy Yap. Right? And he couldn't make any headway. What's the question?
Yeah, but Yap won that seat, you know. Remember, Ferdy Yap won the seat. In 1980, Ferdy Yap won that seat.
80. Yeah, but
Ferdy
probably
Yap became
80.
the MP for West in 1980.
Yeah, probably 80, but
yeah, 80.
I'm saying for most of the...
But the point here...
For most of the 70s, during the intense violence, during the intense intimidation, right? The burning of houses, everything, the PNP was still able to maintain that constituency.
Yes,
Okay.
to a certain extent. But remember this. In 1970, in the 1970-72, the man who used to represent the PNP out that year was Upton Caven, who had a bar at Tower Avenue. That year was like
Bobby
all
Edwards.
the PNP folks would assemble.
Remember Bobby Edwards?
It's Bobby Edwards.
He had a
Yeah,
he was a representative for the PNP during the early 70s, and then bought him out.
Right, but
he had his business place right at the corner of Joshua Edward and Tower Avenue. Had a big supermarket and then burn it down.
Right, but Upton Caveman before the violence start. Upton Caveman used to hang out up by Green Grove. And where the cricket ground is. Next door to it was Father Gooden.
Yeah.
You understand? So
Yeah.
it is true the PMP had a strong foundation in that area. But once Ferdiap came around and started handing out money, and then the guys from Rima moved in, then things start to change because with the guys from Rima who move into Tower Hill and Compound, that changed everything. You understand? So I am really interested in learning about Mr. Buchanan vision for the area. You know, whether
Well,
he
he
and
spoke.
Tony Hilton can come together and develop. What you said, Maxine?
Well, no, I'm saying I'm not sure
Maxine?
if you were. Yeah, I'm not sure if you were listening to him or you were hearing him at the time, because I think there was some difficulty. You hearing what he was saying, but he laid out a plan of focusing on building.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he focused on a plan of building capacity, technical capacity, technological capacity, as he had done from an area that he had recently developed. I'm not sure his other place, rural St.
West
Andrew
Rural.
somewhere. West Rural, right? So his focus was on education and developing the technical
IT.
capacity of his constituency for the constituency to integrate with where the economy, the national and global economy is situated. He was remarking that in going through the spaces, that there's a complete lack of those infrastructure that's there. And right, so I'm just saying that he had laid out that vision, that he's walking through the community to reinvigorate the community in terms of their complacency, they're being turned off from the whole process. But his direct vision is the upgrading of the infrastructure, the roads, the and like I said, the technical. That's where he was, uniquely focused, and I think that's where his own capacity in terms of assets are. So this is why I was intrigued by what he was saying, to say to your question as to what would be those infrastructure in the adjoining communities, meaning if this is his plan to raise up this particular space that he is responsible for, and there are adjoining spaces that you call the greater Waterhouse spaces, then they would also have to be in the same, you understand, development platform,
Yeah.
Type of a thing that's why I was asking about the demographic of especially the youth in all of these communities. And because that is where the capacity for education sits, and that's where the capacity for training, and as also the capacity for the violence that is plaguing, or that is the tool for the, what you're just talking about, gap, and how political upmanship is gained in those areas is through that type of manipulation. But that's what I got from him, and I understand from his book.
Patrick.
That's his focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you have to say? You heard him. You heard Buchanan. What do you have to say? What's your remarks?
Yeah, I heard him. what he had to say. Maxine pretty much outlined it. He started to um speak to some of his own ideas that he had, and he said that at the moment he was pretty much in an assessment mode. He was walking the constituency and um doing his own assessment. So what I gather from that is that there is really no strong organization yet, but that's what he's looking to build in the constituency. Some organizational base really take on, but he says that the potential looks good, for him to take it on based on his experience and based on what he had embarked on in other areas. So it is yet to be seen. Of course, because of the technicalities, we couldn't really get full explanations from him. We're only getting bits and pieces. But of course it is yet to be seen. We'd still like to hear from him and get some more from him in terms of his ideas and his thoughts on the constituency.
Yeah, he was also talking
Last-
about some particular gullies and some spaces that were very degraded, and I don't know the
At around Waltham.
place, but
There's a gully that runs through Tower, I think
That's
that
not
is
the
what
one he's talking
about.
about. No, not
Which
the
one
one.
is he talking
The
about?
one I think is run by Waltham. Don't pan
Okay. I know that big gully, but remember, at the top of the farm road, there's a gully that run
go
down
straight
to
down
Safety
to
from there.
yeah man.
Yeah.
Straight down
There's
past
a
Unimotors
on
there.
top of the farm. Yeah, there's a gully there. But I don't know. I wasn't able to hear what he's saying. We have a technical thing. I think we sort it out now. So, do you think we should invite him back to have a more comprehensive engagement?
Yeah,
What,
when
what
he's
do you
not on
think?
a walk, cause he's outdoor. If it's possible
Yeah,
at
Yeah.
all, he's
with him
outdoor.
being on the phone and
So
all of that, it's kind
and,
of
and on his phone, it's not conducive to any stable reception. So
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely love to hear from him and give him a chance to say what he's, expand on his vision for the constituency and how we might try to achieve it.
Okay. So, I want to go back to the constitution issue. I want to go back to that because I wasn't able to contribute to the discussion. I listened to PJ Patterson reasoning, and I'm not happy with what he said. I'm not happy because, for me, if we're talking about constitutional reform and we're genuinely about talking about constitutional reform and we're moving ahead, then from Jump Street, there has to be a much broader engagement of Jamaican. There have to be. So far, the discussion is just among the political elites. That is what the discussion is right now. Other people are not involved. So until I see that happening, then I cannot believe, nor will I believe that these guys are serious about building a genuine democratic Jamaica. From what I see, it seems like Owens is positioning himself to become the president, and the PMP is in a tussle as to if they want to support this and what have you. I understand the PMP argument that we need to leave the Privy Council. Of course, it's a party of lawyers. Lawyers, they would want to, some would want to move in that direction. But interestingly, in all this discussion, I don't hear from Frank Phipps. I don't hear a word from Frank Phipps in all of this. I must have said something, but I think someone like Frank Phipps, who is a legal scholar, well-known criminal lawyer, a man who sits on the reparation committee, should be more engaged in this process. People like Frank Phipps, I don't know why, but I think the process
Me,
that we have right now, the process that we have right now, I don't think it's a genuine attempt. I think it's just gamesmanship and hypocrisy. And I say hypocrisy, because all of those guys, nobody's going to tell me that they didn't know beforehand that Golden had dual
a
citizenship,
British. Right.
a British citizen. They didn't know. I think they all knew this. And they also know the other members in the parliament and the Senate who holds dual citizenship. So this noise that they're making now, is it genuine or is just politics as usual?
But
I think one of the
hear my
things that
view,
I
Mikey.
learned though, Mr.
Max,
Buchanan, is that
last make uh,
No, go ahead,
no,
Maxine.
this is Herb.
no, one of the things that I
Make
learned,
Maxine finish,
I,
guys.
I'm not sure I would want some analysis on this, is that this whole change, this whole constitutional reform is legally only the right of the political elites. I read it somewhere that the idea of the people or the referendum or certain things being subject to the people's voice, because the people's voice is through the vote or through a referendum. But what I learned was that this process is strictly between the political elites. So that when we are saying, oh, it's not right or it's not, how come they're not coming to the people, etc., that it is structured that way. That any change that happens in Jamaica to the governance, it doesn't involve the people. So I want somebody to, I read it and I said, wow. So what chance do we have if structurally this change in the constitution is just among the political elite?
I
Well,
think
you,
you're right,
you
Maxine,
see,
in that thus far that's where the discussion is centered, and nobody even trying to get the views of the public. As a matter of
Because they
fact,
don't have to by law. That's
yes,
what I'm asking.
as a matter of fact, Maxine, if you remember a couple months ago when people were expressing their views as to what they think the constitutional changes were or should be, members of the JP, members of the Constitutional Reform Committee came out and said that people were trying to interfere and pressure and do all manner of evil and take the constitutional reform on a different course, right? So they are not interested in having the people intervene too much because they only want to change a few things, right? And the people want a lot of things to be changed in the Constitution, right? So it is not in their interest to involve the people at this time because the changes that they are comfortable with, the people are against a lot more than just that.
So you're saying last that what
Herb,
I got was that this the Constitution is still amongst the political structure. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So when they say they want to change to republic and all of these,
That's all they want to
you
do.
know, yeah, it's like the important. That's what I'm saying. They just drop these things like privy council and all of these things to kind of give us headache up, you know, like send us on some wild goose chase. And I'm saying the substantive issues that
The
would
real,
affect the people, they're not intending on changing it.
they're not interested at all, Maxine. You're right. They have no interest.
So what do they
Let's
need to
bring
do?
Herb into the
Well,
conversation. Herb,
well, hey, good afternoon, folks. I am still here at the military supermarket, and it was overcrowded. I apologize profusely because yesterday I had to travel 70 miles one way to Ratty's place. I said 70, it's over 80 miles one way to be able to do the show from there. So I didn't get a chance to do any housework, folks, if you don't realize it. And today. But listen, I hear what you say, and I agree with the statements being made. The fact of the matter is, the PDP, by not signing off on the proposed draft, did all of us a favor. Because the proposed draft would have turned this prime minister, this current prime minister, and his minions loose to do as they please. Now, there is nothing in there to suit the masses of people, nothing at all. And everything that he promised within 100 days is no longer even available. It's not even on the table, right? There's nothing to recall corrupt politicians or ineffective politicians. There's nothing that says he or anybody that performs the way he has been with his corrupt activities be impeached. The thing in there says term limits and to get people out if they're ineffective after a set term. Nothing at all. So it is more of the same, and quite rightly, the PNP for
okay,
I
I think
lost
we
him.
lost him. He's in a car.
He's back,
Yeah,
coming
we
back.
like we lost him.
He's coming
Yeah.
back or attempting to. Yeah, it was a great disappointment when I saw that part because I was like, wow. I thought
yeah,
that
yeah.
the people were involved.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Jamaica has 14 parishes,
Herb, finish.
and they've only gone to 4. Right? If you only do 4 out of 14, how can you say the people are involved in the decision? No. What has to happen now is clearly there cannot be any change until the other party is in power. Then the people have to decide that they have a stake in this and probably vote on a new constitution that would get rid of the Privy Council and allow more people to attend their appeals at the Caribbean Court of Justice. Privy Council is out of reach. That's $135 million, which most people who know that they have been wrong cannot afford. And when Andrew Holness says that he prefers the Privy Council, he's being disingenuous, and he's been the same non-caring, nonchalant, messed up person that he's been when it comes to everything else. Because non-caring applies to the education system, the exodus of our teachers. Non-caring applies to the medical availability of our doctors and nurses, and the fact that they have an exodus as well, and the fact that the entire hospital system is blighted and is in desperate need of upgrade, which they keep spending money and nobody knows where the money is going. Nobody can see anything that's being effectively done. So it's time for these guys to move out and let the guys do their thing. Let the other people put their best effort forward and try to see if we can save the island. Right now, by the
That
people who just went over the Constitution.
that sounds like an endorsement of the National Party. You're saying that the PMP should and hopefully we'll get some movement, a more democratic process. But I doubt it. I doubt it. I think the problem with the political parties, especially the PNP, is that they are taken over by lawyers. And the lawyers only looking out for their interests. They're not going beyond that. They're not going beyond that. You know what surprised me in all of this discussion about golden and dual statement and dual citizenship and what have you? What surprised me is the fact that the PMP has not given its commitment to auditing and investigation and possibly send some of these guys to prison. And there's enough there. But the PMP remains silent. The only one, the mayor of Kingston, the recently appointed mayor or elected mayor, he gave a commitment to do an audit of the KSAC. Okay? What about central government? Nobody's talking about that. And that's where a lot of the corruption is happening. Central government. So,
But Michael, if you look at the corruption in central government,
has within it and proportional representation and term limits. Is that in the document, Herb? Anything like that? Term limit or impeachment? Hey, Herb, is that in the document that you look at? The Constitution that they circulate?
yes. Just you don't have to look at document. The document doesn't contain any of that. What I look at is the Prime Minister's promises when he was campaigning, not once, not twice, right? But several times he mentioned what he will do within 100 days, right? And it turns out to be false. He has not followed up on that when he was campaigning. So that makes him out to be a liar. He had no intent of doing any of this stuff. He's not pushed his party people toward that. And instead, it seems like he's hell-bent on being the next president, who will then be in office for another 7 years.
Wow.
I don't think the Jamaican people are going to go for that. Because from what I'm hearing is that Herb.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, finish what you're saying, bro.
No, go ahead.
You can hear me?
From what I'm hearing within the GLP, yes, we can hear you. From what I'm hearing is that there are forces in the Jamaican party saying that more is right. Them.
We're not hearing
aren't that if
you're saying that there are forces in the Jamaica Labour Party that are doing what? After that,
You're
you
not
broke
hearing
up.
me?
No, you broke up.
You're breaking up.
Part. Repeat what you said about the forces.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me, Max? I'm saying that there are forces in the Jamaica Labour Party who are now calling, and who are now saying that Holness and his wife have to go. They have to go because the corruption, they are so steep in this corruption situation that there's no way the JLP can go into the election with Holness as leader of the party and his wife because they are that hard coming from within the JLP. I don't know. Ishmael, have you heard anything?
In relation to? In relation to?
In relation to
In
Holness.
relation to and his wife and the within the Jamaica Labour Party,
Holness
there's
resigning
disaffection.
and his wife.
No, that's news to me. That's news to me.
With Holness and his wife within the JLP.
Of them resigning?
Yeah, I heard rumors of that.
No, this
News
that
to
they,
me.
because of the illicit six and
Oh.
the rumor that the two people within it are the issue of Holness and his wife, because
Okay.
even within this whole dual citizenship debate with Bart, the pushback is that the corruption within the JLP, in relation to the Prime Minister and his wife, and not reporting some reporting issue of their, I don't know what it is that they're not reporting, but it's something to do obviously with money or some excess amount of money that is not being
In relation to the Integrity Commission?
Yes, remember that they haven't named the six people. So the word on the street is that two of those six people is Holness and his wife, right? So
I will not comment on that at all.
No, I'm just telling you. No, I'm just saying to you that in the push against Mark with the dual citizenship issue, the pushback has been about the corruption involving the Prime Minister because he won't issue his report. Right? That is what I see in the paper and reading in media on the level. So that is causing people to speculate that even within the JLP, it is a problem. Because at one point I heard that they were saying they should remove them and put, what's his name? Tufton.
Oh, I see.
I'm just saying that issue is being, what do you call it, seesaw. You understand? And we don't know, because the six or whoever this illicit six or whatever that is going on, everyone understands that from the beginning when Holness was elected, his and his wife issue of their income was an issue. From the house that they were building, that them have companies in St. Lucia, all of these things were on the platform. And they were elected, Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I can say about that is, it's a national and international issue for the Prime Minister to not have his last 3 years of his statutory declarations to be certified by the Integrity Commission. I don't know the intricacies of why that is so, but what I can say, what I can say, the comments are blowing up. I'm sorry. is that it's untenable. As far as I'm concerned, it's untenable for any prime minister for that to be happening. However, I, I guess it's just I guess it's just one governance, one government at a time. So um hopefully the next 18 months will reap some reward for Jamaica going forward.
Last,
The problem, yeah, the problem in Jamaica has always, Michael, been leadership. The failure of this prime minister to lead is a very distinctive problem because he has put 18 or 19 of the top agencies in the office of the prime minister. He has controlled things like the expansion of the church. They went to court, had the injunction removed, and it's causing people to suffer on top of what they were suffering before with the untreated pools of contaminated water that they live around. He does not care. They talk about his house, they talk about his newfound wealth, and he still does not care. The issue in Jamaica now is, can the parliament rise up and make a believer to us that they have the power to stymie a corrupt prime minister and his wife, rather than sit there and just casually vote as if nothing is wrong. They have to stop them. And the only way to stop them is to apply the law and have him prosecuted. If she's involved, have her prosecuted as well. But it needs to be done. And we need to stop nice and demand a prosecution. Every group here in the diaspora and in Jamaica, demand that the man be prosecuted.
Mm.
gentlemen, I think we're about to
But listen, Mike, before
exhaust
you
our
close
time.
out, I,
You usually say
Mike,
get together. We get
Not
go
hearing.
back to work and whatever. So I don't want to keep you guys long. But can we go on last words? Some last summary comments, starting with Herb.
yes.
Herb,
All right.
you want to share some
This coming Saturday. Can you hear me? You guys hearing me?
Yes.
Okay. This coming Saturday in Washington, D.C., we'll come together for the third in the series of protests against a corrupt government. Make no mistake, they sent their ambassador to try to intimidate me, and it backfired. This ambassador does not understand what the First Amendment rights are, that you can speak in this country freely. And she came to a supervisor to try and influence me to stop speaking out. That's not going to happen. And then come Saturday, we will have another protest. I've received a lot of messages from JLP supporters, some supporting what we're doing, and others attacking what we've been doing. There's no doubt in my mind that number of people that I work with and that are performing in the protests are PNP supporters. We are independent-minded people here in the diaspora who choose to go after government because we realize the level of corruption is so deep and that the country is not being served and that there's just too much wrong that's going wrong with the management of the country called Jamaica. It's not just Jamaica alone. There are other countries in the Caribbean that are having issues. Issues caused by corruption, money laundering, the cartels moving in, and people in bed with cartel and with private sector who decide that they're going to cheat. They don't want to pay taxes. A lot of leadership do not want to pay taxes. They want to go to offshore banks. They want to invest overseas. And when they get caught lying on their declarations, then they start to talk and criticize others who bring this to the fore. We need to bring more of this to the fore. We need to talk about it amongst our people. We need to decide what it is we want for Jamaica. Whether we want Jamaica to be the shining star on the hill again, or whether we're going to let Jamaica go down the tubes because of these unscrupulous people. So we will speak to that Saturday the 15th at 9 in the morning until 4. And we are asking people who want to attend to go to ojldf.net and to sign up for bus rides and sign your name, tell us what area you're in and that you'd like to attend. And that's as much as I can say right now, because we're ready to go, folks. We're going to have the protest come hell or high water. It's going to be about 90 degrees in DC at the time, and that makes for lots of fun. I don't expect really bad weather, but who knows? But thanks again, Michael, for having me, and thanks to you listeners.
No,
Thank you.
no problem, bro. Patrick,
Yeah.
get some words from you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we are hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say, it's the discussion has been a bit difficult to flow because of the technical issues and all of that. But certainly this issue of the dual citizenship and so on, like I said, it's really much ado about nothing, and I expect us to really try and shift the discussion to something more meaningful where we can deal with in terms of what we need to do going forward. It's about all I have to say right now.
Maxine.
We're going to see.
Yes, yes, I continue to be informed by coming here weekly and discussing what's online and what's happening about. I really do think that we need to promote the people's rights, which I think is what we're doing here now, educating the people about their rights in this constitutional process. I guess the issue of Mark and his dual citizenship. The good thing about it has certainly highlighted the Constitution in the people's mind, but they must also be highlighted about how they are left out. The spotlight that is being shone. The people should expand the people's knowledge of governance here, and for them to demand information in areas such as the land area, the crown land, and this process only being among the political elites. What is going to be the referendum for the people? What is going on the referendum in relation to the people voting for the republic? This is something I know the Rastafari, as a Rastafarian, we have been saying the removal of the queen, now a king, for decades upon decades, and I'm certain that this removal, especially as Mike spoke about Frank Phipps and the reparations debate, and what is being discussed in the reparations, debate is not even, none of that is being spoken of here within the republic, but reparations and the republic is aimed at the same people, the British crown. You understand? So you have but none of the information or the processes within the reparations discussion is emerging within the constitutional reform discussion. That is removing the same people or targeting the same crown, queen, crown land, and what must be paid, or reinvested in certainly in the state of Jamaica and the Caribbean at large. So yeah, so I'm just looking forward to more of this program as we go forward.
Ishmael, Ishmael,
I'm here.
you
I'm
need to
here. I'm
unmute
here. I'm
yourself, bro.
here. I'm here. I'm here. Mm-hmm. So final words. I'm a stickler for proverbs and food for thought. So just a food, just my food for thought is, as a people, it is best for us, if it is that we intend to continue our path of development, to stop paying attention to small issues, because these small issues will will allow us to deviate from our main goal. And it's also important for us to understand that planting a tree is not for us, it's for the generations to come. So us getting this constitutional issue right is for the generations to come, because we don't have 300 years on this land, but the other generation, they may. And it's on that background that I say, it's important for us to continue to elevate, you know the discussions, um from small issues such as, people's allegiances versus people's personal gains or ill-gotten gains, or whatever it is, versus us looking for sustainable ways forward for people as a whole.
I want to thank all of you for sticking around. Today was a bit of a challenge, because we have some browser problem, and I had to shift to Chrome and that sort of stuff. And I think we have sort of resolved it somewhat. So I want to thank all of you for sticking it out. Like you, I am concerned that this discussion around the Constitution is just restricted to the political elites in the Jamaican society. If we are going to go forward with this document, then there need to be a much broader engagement of the Jamaican people in the church, in the square, in the school, on the television, on the radio station. We should be seeing billboards pushing putting up and telling people, educating Jamaican people as to what is a constitution and what is it that we are thinking of when we talk about constitutional reform.
I am going to
This
promise.
blind thing that they want to take us in, not going to work. Jamaican people must resist any attempt to impose this constitution on us. We must resist because it doesn't seem the document that they circulate is for us. It's for them. And we have to make that distinction. So it's a situation of us and them. Us and them.
I am
And
going to
on that
promise,
note,
given that this is an
I'll
issue,
again
just
thank you.
just before you finish, Nita, and I'm going to promise that if so this is a promise that I can live up to because I'm a man of my word. If we can get the live up to 500, I will have a constitutional expert to come and address us. A very well-known constitutional expert to come and break it down for us to have a few fruitful and thought-provoking discussion. If we get to 500, I promise you that.
You see what it is right now? You see what it is right now, Ishmael?
Yeah, man, I just looked. That's why I said that to them. That's why I said that. So I just looked.
Okay. I think that's coming like you're blackmailing us. But
no, not at all. No, not at all. No, not even the name. Not even the name. All right, tell you what. If I get 350 people to next week Sunday, if I get 350 people next week Sunday, I reveal the name.
Well, that's a good. I have to tell my audience in order for them to tune in. You understand? But that is something we need to discuss. Listeners, remember, we meet every Sunday, 4 o'clock at this platform, Waterhouse Vibes. So I'm asking you to like, share, and tell your friends because we have a challenge before us. Next week, we need 350 listeners so that Ishmael can bring a constitutional expert to break it down for us. That's a deal, and I hope we'll take that up.
Okay. So I
All
think
right?
we should cross
Until next
Ratigan
Sunday,
and Wayne Lonesome program.
see all of you guys. Bye.
All right, bye.
Everybody be well. And don't forget, Pat, I'm looking forward to you joining us.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You're gonna be in Washington, right?
Yeah. Parking is good down there.
Yeah, man, the parking there. We showed yesterday, right across the street from the embassy.
Okay.
And then we have another one around the block. But if you come 8:30, you can get parking easily.
Yeah, all right. I'm sure if I'll make it for the 8:30,
Right.
but definitely I'm coming down. But I'll be in touch with you before though, on my way.
All right, cool.
All right, good.
You probably go most likely be nominated to be one of the speakers.
Okay.
Most definitely. All right. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you.
We talk.
Mm-hmm.